All right, let's start with the Rams. Let's go through their transactions and decide if they got better or worse.
So let me just pull up. So I'm gonna go by I'm using over the cap. So I'm gonna go by percent of snaps that they played. So the Rams the Rams lost their center Austin Blythe, who played all of his their snaps to the Chiefs. They lost cornerback Troy Hill that played 94% of the snaps last year. They lost safety John Johnson to the Browns. Sorry, Troy Hill and John Johnson both went to the Browns. They traded for they gained Matt Stafford, signed punter from the Bills. They signed Deshaun Jackson. They lost Josh Reynolds to the Titans. He was a slot receiver that played 71% of the time. They lost Michael Brockers in a trade. They lost tight end Gerald Everett to the Seahawks.
Everett's on the Seahawks.
Yeah, wow. Everyone Seahawks. Wow. They retained Leonard Floyd. They lost Malcolm Brown. They lost Morgan Fox, who was an underrated defensive tackle. I think he had 5 or 6 sacks last year, and he signed with the Panthers. Obviously, we know Sansom signed with the Niners. Then the rest is a long snapper. They retained Darius Williams, who was their starting one of their corners. Played 80% of the snaps. They re-signed their 59-year-old left tackle Andrew Whitworth. And the rest is the rest of the roster moves don't matter. But I mean, as we're going through, that's a lot of losses right there.
The main addition is Stafford.
So my question with the Rams is Stafford.
You didn't even mention the defensive coordinator they lost.
And they did lose their defensive coordinator.
And they lost one of their highly ranking offensive coordinators, who's now the coaches, who's now the offensive coordinator in Seattle.
Is Stafford an upgrade? He can bless you. Where Thanks. He's going to make up for all those losses. So he's got to make up for in that trade. He's got to make up for. They lost a center. We've seen how much a center can change. Not having your center can change things. They lost.
2 DBs.
Two DBs, John Johnson and their corner Troy Hill. They lost 5 or 6. Actually, they lost more than I think they lost in total. And all the defensive linemen is I think they lost like 15 sacks total. Is Matthew Stafford good enough to make up for all of that? Like, if I told you this year that the Niners, let's just pretend the Niners didn't re-sign Jason Verrett. They didn't re-sign Jaquan.
Right.
Right. It didn't. And then they traded for Matt Stafford. Would you say that the Niners are better than they were last year?
No, absolutely not. When you put it that way, I mean, it's starting to look like the Niners, that the Rams got worse over the offseason.
That's what I see. I mean, the only outside chance that they might be better is, man, unless they really nailed it in the draft, or they've got some guys that on the come up that
we don't know about. Yeah,
we don't know about, but
it's fair to say the Rams got worse, and people don't realize it because they got Stafford. This is a team that may not be as good as it was last year.
I think that's from what I see. I mean, I think the Stafford is the flashy highlight move of but
it's kind of like distracting you from the fact that they lost 8 starters or whatever it was.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue if they traded for Rodgers. I mean, do you think? I don't know if would Rodgers be able to make up for all of that.
That's a lot. It's a lot. And forget that they lost their defensive coordinator. That's a tough one.